Hello, I'm Dr. J, use they as a pronoun. This is a really weird experiment for me. I am going to be watching, along with you, a film that I was in 17 years ago called The Lovers and Fighters Convention. And I've just finished doing a quick edit of it. And when I say edit, I mean literally putting some blocks over to hide my old name so that only my current name shows. Only my name shows. There is no new or old name. Well, there is an old name. You will not know it. You will see my name. That is what I have just been doing. So 20 years ago, I arrived in London. 20 years ago this year, I arrived in London. And about 6 weeks later, I was at a performance party type thing where I met this wonderful person who called Josephine, who then went on about 3 years later to program me in this show called The Genderqueer Playhouse, which was then filmed as this film called The Lovers and Fighters Convention. Now, there's a couple of things I want to tell you about this. First off, there's a sense that I'm mask in there, and I love the fact that you think that I mask. I love the fact that people read what I was doing there as mask. I was attempting to mask as mask, but no, sweetheart, I'm very much not mask. This is about as mask as I'll ever get. And ever be. So there's that. Also, it's very weird seeing a much younger version of myself who doesn't need to wear glasses all the time. I haven't seen myself without glasses because I can't see myself very well without glasses. For a very, very long time, which is kind of hilarious. And the third part is I'm going to be jumping in to talk about the ghosts of performances because my performances were so extreme that we could not show them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop at the end of my performance and explain what actually was recorded but not shown. That's one ghost. And then what I'm thinking of doing, actually what I will do, is I will then do a very quick two-camera with interjections and screen directions, a very coldish reading of the performance that could not be shown, and I will explain why it could not be shown. And what I'm going to do in the future is turn the performance that could not be shown into some kind of video type thing. So this is a bit of a wild ride. The film is about an hour long. I'm going to try not to interject too much, although you might hear me mutter at various points, oh, for fuck's sakes. Because sometimes one of the other things was we couldn't get the rights to some of the music that we wanted to use. So I will explain what the music probably was, in from what I can remember. Also, very quickly, a note, Josephine, whatever Josephine is referred to, they are now Josephine Baird. Tom of Tottenham is played by Levi, and I'm Dr. J. Use any names other than that. We're not just... Why would you? Why would you? So, yes, I'm Dr. J. Use they as a pronoun. At the time, I think I used she. God only knows what pronoun I used. I was trying to figure out what pronouns were and how they vibed with me. So, let's buckle up and watch the Lovers and Fighters Convention. I'm going to try to also upload the Lovers and Fighters on its own so you can watch this without my interruptions, but we'll see how this goes.
Good evening. We are delighted to have you here for this evening's recording of Songs of Praise.
Sorry? Yeah.
Are they not quite songs? Oh, I say.
Something else.
The gender what?
Gender bit queer.
The gender...
I loved Humpty and Bunty.
We're delighted to have you here for this evening recording of the Gender Queer Playhouse.
Now, I don't want you to be disappointed because chlorine has affected this. It has. It was bigger, but chlorine has made it small. This is what I was using. So I just had, I mean, it is very small. They shrink. They shrink in the water, you know. So this would sit in the trunks. And then I got really worried. I was thinking, well, what say it was to float out of my trunk bed? I mean, imagine seeing your penis maybe in the fast lane.
Me? I'm your bastard daughter, white trash whore, sister, bitch, goddess, fuck you in the ass, nightmare kind of a girl.
went down to London town with Jess the other day to see the sights, the shining lights, so frivolous and gay. In Bethnal Green, oh what a scene, I had to stop and stare. Lovers and fighters,
Dirty blighters.
it's all going on down there. To Oxford House, one cat and mouse, they came from all around.
Those whiffs and strees from Hollyweed.
All kinds of lost and found. Those highfalutin, whistling, fluting, queuing round the block. Oh, those lovers and fighters.
Dirty blighters.
It began to stir my...
All right, ducks, let's keep it clean, shall we?
Well, I'm telling you. Come on, real quick.
I also love the line, let's keep it clean, when you've got Jet Moon's
All right, girl.
performance and my
Last verse.
performances.
Here we go.
We'll get there.
We took our seats awaiting treats, our teas both short and tall. They made us laugh, they made us cry from start to curtain call. We called for more, our voices sore from shame we're surgically. Oh, you lovers and fighters,
Dirty blighters.
just you wait and see.
This is where I crossed my fingers that I got my editing to work. Nope. My editing did not work. I'm going to have to fix it up in this version.
Oh bon, show monsieur, gelatin style, bonjour madame.
For those who can't read, I'm just going to pause this and I'll read it out to make it a bit more accessible. On the 1st of July 2004 in London, the Queen signed into law the Gender Recognition Act. This Act of Parliament allowed trans people to change their gender in law, including birth certificates. This is where the Gender Recognition Certificate comes from. So this was a terrific step forward, but there were still people who didn't believe in the boxes, let alone tick them. At the same time, something was stirring in London.
Oh bon, show monsieur.
So performers, artists and audiences got together to imagine something new at Club Whatever and Bar Whatever and the Transfabulous Arts Festival. This is the story of one night at Transfabulous. Just to let you behind the scenes, this was actually filmed twice. It was filmed once in front of a live audience and once for coverage without an audience. The Genderqueer Playhouse was performed, I think, about 4 or 5 times. So we did it the 2 film times, the 1 time at Transfabulous, and then we also took it to Uppsala, and I think we did it somewhere else, but Josephine will be the one who remembers such things. I do not.
Gelatin style, bonjour madame. Gelatin style, gelatin style.
Oh, and all the filming took place in Bethnal Green at Oxford House, which is a brilliant, brilliant venue, and thank you so much for having us there. It's still around. It's still a brilliant venue. I've been to a couple of little shows there, and if you get a chance to go there, it's brilliant. Believe it or not, Bethnal Green is actually more vibrant than this would kind of display. It's actually a very, very vibrant, street-based space.
Yeah, I know. Good evening. I thought I'd talk to you this evening a little bit about using men's changing rooms when you don't have a penis. See, first tip. Men don't wear their towels like a dress, they wear them like a skirt. Do you know? I always hate, you know when people say, oh, men are like this and women are like this, yeah? And I hate that, and I'll always say, no, they're not like that. But I'll tell you something. Men's changing rooms, women's changing rooms. Totally different worlds, totally different culture. For a start, women look at each other. For the most part, men don't look at each other. And I'll tell you for why. First time I'm in a men's changing room after swimming, and I saw this. I saw a man use the hairdryer to dry his feet. Now, as I saw him do this, I'm used to women's changing rooms, so I'm kind of looking around. Where is the wave of disapproval from everyone in the gym? Which you would get. Have you ever seen a woman dry her feet with a hairdryer? Well, I've never seen it in public. I never saw a woman dry her feet with a hairdryer. I've seen a man dry his entire body with a hairdryer. He's actually put his foot up on the chair, move his tackle to one side, and dry his crack with a hairdryer. And no one says a thing. I mean, we all just carry on, get dressed, No one says a thing. This is a bit of an awkward manoeuvre I'm about to do on stage. Because the towel's not quite big enough. It's nothing to do with me. It's my towel is at fault. Yeah, this is always awkward. I mean, I'm trying to recapture the awkwardness of a changing room, I hope you realise. Here's the thing. See, in your trunks, you get that nice little net bag for holding something. When I first started swimming, I thought I should put something in there. Like a mock penis and testicle sort of situation. Just to sort of blend in with the other boys. So I was thinking, well, what can I put in there? I come up with this idea. I'm naked. It just occurred to me, It's just like all those dreams you have, anxiety dreams. It's like, I'm here. So, I'm not dropping the towel. So, I'm thinking what to make a mock penis testicle situation for swimming. So I came up with this idea of a bath sponge, because I thought, well, then it could sit in the trunks, I'd come out the shower, I'd give it a subtle squeeze. I'll show you it. Now, I don't want you to be disappointed because chlorine has affected this. It has. It was bigger, but chlorine has made it small. This is what I was using. So I just had, it is very small. They shrink in the water, So this could sit in the trunks. And then I got really worried. I was thinking, well, what say it was to float out of my trunk bed? Imagine seeing your penis maybe in the fast lane. The lifeguard fishing it out. And so I got so paranoid about it. I'd swim a length, and then I'd get to the other side, and I'd pat, just to check it was there. Okay, set. And then I'd swim another length, pat, and then one day I thought, I'm the only person in this pool touching their genital regions. People don't, do they? They don't, not in the pool. Not in the pool, So, and then I thought, well, as the object of the exercise is to blend in, I would stop this. So I don't wear anything there when I'm swimming anymore, but I do when I'm getting dressed. So this is, got to put my pants on. So this is exactly as awkward as it would be, except we're in a men's changing room, so no one would be looking at me. So maybe everyone can avert their eyes for this and pretend to be getting dressed yourselves.
Oh, well done.
All right, so pants are on. Now this next bit is where it's a little bit tricky, because I've got to put something in the pants. My choice would be this, a rolled up sock. And I'll tell you why rolled up sock wins every time. I'll show you this. Oh dear, I've dropped a rolled up sock on the floor. And the reason why I learned that is because, so when I was first, transitioning, I thought, I'll get one of those realistic ones. But spot the difference. Imagine children, maybe a school party of 15-year-olds. An ambulance was called. Children cried, Daddy, I didn't know they could do that. Now this would be foolish. I'll show you, this would be foolish, don't do this. I'm going to show you what not to do. Don't do this, it would be foolish. That would be silly. But, I thought that would be silly. And then I thought, hold on a minute. It's urban camouflage, and we're in the inner city. So it may be the wisest choice, because it will be invisible. Urban camouflage. Isn't it funny? Why do people wear urban camouflage in the city, or let alone have an urban camouflage dick? So, for the most part, nobody looks. But sometimes they do. So I can talk a little bit about the times that they do look. So this one time, I'm getting dressed, ignoring everyone. Everyone's ignoring, everyone's just getting dressed, just put my trousers on. Just put my trousers on. And this guy, you know those kind of men that want attention? You know what I mean? Attention-seeking men. So he starts this whole thing. Had a good swim, everyone. And everyone's just ignoring him, he's getting dressed. Oh, you miserable bloody lot. I said, had a good swim, like we're in some kind of stand-up comedy club interactive thing, and it's just, everyone's squirming. I'm just kind of like, getting dressed. No, oh, you miserable. No one had a good swim. No one talked, like this, It's like, la, la, la. And then I can feel his eyes lock, He's locked onto me. He's going to say something. Here, mate. God, no. Here, mate. Here, mate. And then I've got to look round because I'm thinking he's going to start using some sort of descriptive thing so that, oh no, he's talking to me. And I know he's talking to me. So I say, yes. And he says, here, mate, I know you're a tit man because you're trying to grow your own. And I'm thinking, right. What to say? I don't know. So then, that thing when you get home, and then you think about what happened, and then you get all the witty lines. Yeah? It didn't happen. And that was 2 years ago, and I still don't know what to say. So this other time, I'm getting dressed, and I'm aware that I'm the only person in the changing room. And then a guy comes out of the shower. Now, he's kind of muscly, kind of big guy, and he's got just like a little towel around his waist. And he's just comes out of the shower, and I was just doing my hair at the time. I was looking in the mirror. I'm just kind of in the mirror, doing my hair, aware of him here, reflected here. Comes back like this. All right, someone's come out of the shower. And then I think, he's looking at me. He's staring at me. He was just staring. So I could feel my cheeks going pink, and I'm thinking, all right, here we go. What's he going to say? Something's going to happen. No, cheeks going pink, cheeks going pink. He's just looking, he's just like this. And I'm thinking, he's kind of looking sort of angry and a bit scary, and I'm starting to sort of pack my stuff. And he's just looking. He's just staring. What's going to happen? Is he going to go and get somebody? They're going to come, they're going to have a word with me, two of them. So I'm just kind of, all right, make a sharp exit. And he's just standing there looking. And then, something happened. So he takes the towel from around his waist, and he puts it between his legs. And I don't know much about penises, is the truth. But he had like a semi-on, is that right? Like a kind of bit of a, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know this situation. He takes the towel, and he does this. And he's looking at me, he's doing this. And I'm aflame with embarrassment. And my eyes are like saucers, because I've never seen such a thing. And he's going like this. And I'm like this. And I don't know what to do. So I take my stuff, because I don't know what to do. And my eyes are like saucers, and my cheeks are burning, and I go home. And I go in the door, and my eyes are like saucers, my cheeks are burning, and I sit down.
Jason Barker is brilliant. If you get a chance, hunt down his films. He's got a couple early ones, and then he's got one about his child, and it's wonderful and it's brilliant, and I hardly recommend hunting them down. I will try to find links to them and things like that. And I love that piece. I've seen it quite a few times because as the person watching being part of the troupe, you watch lots of people do their thing, and we all work together to give everybody encouragement and do all of those things. So yeah, it's kind of brilliant.
Serge Nicholson, Jason Barker. We co-produce a festival called Transfabulous Arts Festival International.
Earlier, we started out thinking that it was going to be a festival where people who were performers or artists who happened to be trans, so people who weren't necessarily having their work shown as a trans thing, would be able to perform at our festival. So that was the idea of it, really. It was a lot more like, if you like, it was more like a sort of transsexual festival, because it was more like people who perhaps were not necessarily like operating stealth, but in their normal life as artists or musicians, maybe no one knew, or maybe artists, the audiences at least didn't know that they were trans. They weren't sort of trans performers. So we thought we'd make a space for them to perform to a trans audience. So it was quite kind of transsexual. And then by the second festival, I think we'd realised that we were sort of, rather than trying to cater for everyone like that, that it just opened up, it bloomed and blossomed, and we got to kind of know our audience as more of a trans queer crossover, and actually people's trans status as performers or audiences became not so important. It's more about, it's work that looks at gender and the body, and so it's a very loose, fluid thing.
And I think it was also like bringing together our audience, our trans extended audience, in terms of they could bring their partners, their friends together, to something as an audience to share with transgender artists. So that was new in terms of having a safe place, a place where you could come dressed how you wish, express yourself how you wish, and that was new.
Resume.
On to education. Stimulating the mind, enriching the brain, growing our knowledge. Please welcome to the stage Miss Dorothy Fine.
Good evening, my name is Miss File. I am a psychologist in training. Tonight's discussion, which I've hastily put together, shooting from the hip as I do, it is about burlesque and cabaret, which, as we all know, was invented in 1942 by Sir the Fourth. It was the war, you see. The war was going on and everybody was getting badly confused because all these women were going to work and breaking with their gender norms, and so they had to have this lovely, very, very safe, very, very pleasant pornography to show to the men, to demonstrate to them that it's okay, don't worry, women are still sex objects and you can be and must be attracted to them. I'm a scientist. I go into the field and observe, not usually fields, actually more King's Cross, Soho, that kind of thing, to observe the queers in their natural environment. Often I go unaccompanied to blend in, as I do, dancing to their music. Excellent. Thank you very much. Yes, anyway, so I blend in, and I study, and I observe, and document, and make lots of paper that people tend not to read. It's the life of an academic. And, no, it's very important work, because these queers, they're rather poor souls, and what they've done, it's terribly, terribly worrying, they've reappropriated the cabaret and the burlesque for their own deviant needs. It's terrible, and I thought I'd come here today to demonstrate to you, lovely learned individuals like yourselves, what you can look out for Should you enter into an establishment in King's Cross or in Soho, you're going, oh, lovely, what a lovely evening. I thought I'd go into this, what it looks like a tea room, I'm sure it is. Lovely, wander in, oh, there's going to be some entertainment. Watch away, and it looks like ordinary heterosexual, safe, scrumptious pornography. Any ladies in the house, of course, would immediately leave, excuse themselves for the gentlemen to have their heterosexuality to be reinscribed. Should the ladies stay, of course, there would be uproar. But instead, something else happens, and your minds begin to expand and contract, expand, contract, expand, contract, and they warp and change and deviate and deviant, and all of a sudden you're thinking of Katie Lang or Melissa Etheridge. So I'm here to demonstrate to you the differences between normal, safe, heterosexual pornography burlesque and deviant, terrifying, horrifying, queer. So should you go into any environment, go, oh my God, there it is, Miss File told me, you can do what I prescribe. Simply register your complaint and exit quietly. Register your complaint and leave quietly. You don't need to do it now, don't be afraid. Oh, I'm quite safe. I shan't change your minds about anything. No, I'm going to do a little demonstration and then we shall examine each movement. You may be in an establishment, there she is, doing her gyrating to the musics of today, and all of a sudden she's grabbing her breath, no problem there, it's her own breath, not someone else's, no problem at all. Grabbing away, and all of a sudden, a totally inappropriate, masculinized image of strength is projected at the audience, confusing you. No! Register your complaint and exit. The next movement, there she is, just raising the skirt slightly above the knee. Oh my gosh, heavens no. Heterosexuality perfectly in place. And all of a sudden, oh my God, she's thrusting her pelvic region in your direction. No! You think, no! Inappropriate form of aggressive action from the feminine subject. Register your complaint and leave quietly. So the lady might be gyrating away, moving on her stripper pole, no problem, by the way, phallus, gyrating against, ooh, I'm subject to it, patriarchy is reinscribed, oh, no problems at all, oh my God, she signals the beard and moustache. Completely incorrect, the feminine subject, facial hair, no! Register your complaint and leave quietly. Now, I understand you may be confused. This might be tricky to, you're saying to me, but Miss File, heavens, I can see this in the distilled laboratory environment. It's so easy to see. I understand your reasoning and agree completely. But what happens in the field? Wandering around, oh, tea room, wander in, there she goes. It's hard to tell, I can't quite tell. Is that a queer burlesque movement that distorts and deviates? Or is it normal, heterosexual, safe pornography? Ooh, watch that bit, nice there, lovely. Best go home to the wife and do whatever they do. So I shall demonstrate in context. We need some music, I think, some appropriate music. And I shall demonstrate in context, and we shall learn all together. Lovely. Ah, yes. Most sexual. Lovely. Okay, gyrating away, no problems here. No problem, heterosexuality. No, far too terrible. We'll have to carry on with the demonstration. Yes, doing much better. It's warming here, isn't it? Yeah, very warm, very warm. Carrying on, we have to keep going, here we go.
I've known Josephine for 20 years, and still that performance just makes me smile so hard because it is so the essence of her. And so what I saw the first time that I saw her perform, it is just that insanity, that smartness, that wittiness, and just the whole, oh my God, just insane. And one of the loveliest people you'll ever meet or get to work with or do anything with. And yeah, I can't believe I've had them in my life for 20 years.
Here we are. Yeah, Dad, Mum. Eldest son, Jesse. Daughter, Paloma.
I came here and I saw the performances here and thought, hell, I can do that too.
I sound so funny. Also, did I think I could actually perform? I don't know, but I'll talk about that in a bit.
And then the next year, I was back here performing at the first Genderqueer Playhouse.
Actually, some of the best people that we've ever known are in the trans community. I mean, I didn't actually know any trans people that I can remember, and then met quite a number. And it's just it's the most creative community that I've come across. You know, everybody's doing something interesting, and even, you know, if they're not artists, everybody's interesting and lovely, because I suppose that the challenges that they've had to overcome have made them very broad people, maybe. Yeah.
Anyone can get involved, whether you're not trans or you're trans or you identify as genderqueer or how you look. There's no need to look a particular way. There's no, you're not trans enough or you're not queer enough or whatever. Anyone can be involved.
Which is very cute, and it's still true. So one of the hardest things of watching this is it's 17 years old, and a lot of it was performed almost 18, 19 years ago. And it's still all completely valid. Like the things Jason is performing about that vulnerability that we have in changing rooms, the thing Josephine's performing about the way our identities are controlled, patrolled, talked about, even my stuff around the fact that you can do things. At the time, I think I was just figuring out what my gender was. So at the time, I think I had only just figured out that my gender is transgressive, non-binary, genderqueer, and Josephine helped me figure that out. But I think when that is recorded, I still don't quite know what to call my gender. I'm just something, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
With that shoulder.
I hope I can. Bebe vita lam, har du någon ull?
How can you belong to us? You're so ugly, so wrong. You do not even look like you should. We are small and dark, and you're big and bright. I never thought it would be easy. But at some point, I thought it should have counted and meant something, that it wasn't my fault. I was born that way. It wasn't my choice. And at 5, it was already too late. Too late to change much. If you read development theory, you know that by 5, the child's brain is by 90% developed, and you already have characteristics that will follow you in later life. I was made as something in the middle. You created me. With parents like you and a family like mine, where all shared the hardship and worked together, who was what was never on the agenda. But as a sailor princess, I had to survive. I had to learn how to fight. Because not every home and not every place is like my first home. Boys are sitting there and girls over there, said the teacher. All of us in the middle. Walked around aimlessly and had nowhere to be. One day in the playground, I understood so much that playing in the mud, wearing my princess wear, wasn't okay. Because my Y-fronts showed under my pink ballerina dress. As a tall 13-year-old, I got spotted as the next big talent. Boxing became my home, and I learned all I needed to know about camaraderie and fairness in the sweaty training hall under the stadium, where the changing room was one, and we shared the hot water after our exercises with the skipping ropes and punch bags. Now the teacher screamed a little bit louder. Boys are sitting in the front, girls hide in the back. 14 years old, puberty hit like a rocket missile. In the training hall, I became known as the fastest hitting missing target. I flew around, smashing my fist left, right, and then back again. The style wasn't beautiful, but raw. It was a genuine anger that risen through my body. My arms became my brain. My brain became my genitals. And my genitals, I didn't understand. Hard and wet, they were a mix of emotions. And I didn't understand or know what to do with them. I got kissed for the first time at 15. It was sweet and soft and lovely first, but then my lips were bitten raw to pulp by this heavy beauty, a few years older than me. The story didn't last. I hadn't figured out what I wanted and what I needed. The training and camaraderie at the gym was my home and total existence. You could have been something if we only knew what you were. Being refused to be part of the Olympic team, my whole life crashed one sunny Thursday afternoon. I fled the country that till then had been called my home. I went on a search for fellow oddballs with hard hands and wet soft eyes. XX. And why? My lovely soft boxing gloves were left behind in a burnt down stadium. For a few years, I made a home in London town. It was busy and crowded, and the friends were many. We got together and shared the love for something in between, something in the middle, something for sir, madam, and whatever. The eyes that looked at me saw what they needed to see, and I was everyone's stereotype. That suited me fine. In my professional career as a gender spy, I could pass as every given gender. My disguise never changed. Only the surroundings and people's perceptions. Hi, honey. I like what I see. You are exactly what I look for. You look like the lover, the partner, the woman, the man I always wanted and dreamt of. Why are you not as I dreamt you to be? Why is the real you so confusing? The real you makes me look gay, straight, queer, butch, lesbian. And the door slammed. Sex was always a hassle. Either I had too much or too little. I got lucky when I met fellow fighters, and during many years we kept up the fight. Sometimes the fight in the bedroom were taken out on the streets, just to survive and to make a statement. Being seen and discovered is a blessing. And I have been lucky to have had it many times. Today, I'm here celebrating at the Lovers and Fighters Convention with you, and I'm happy to see you all. I haven't stopped fighting, because all of us who are what we are always have to keep on fighting. Fighting all corners is hard, but well worth it. So don't give up the fight.
Very, very quickly, Ingo, who was just there, who ran Bar Whatever and Club Whatever in London for quite a few years, I think over 15, maybe almost 20 years. The baby, the doll that they're holding is the doll that I'm holding in my act, and they borrowed it for their act, which will lead to more when I will explain more when we get to my act about the whole thing as to why there is this particular doll on set.
whose jacket doesn't do up on one of their costumes.
One up and Do you mind if I just...
They wanted a queer, gender different performance. So I went out and I talked to a lot of people that performed in different areas in different ways, and brought in as eclectic a group as possible. People who were performing or who had just started performing or performed for a long time. And
we performed before together,
Yeah.
so that was kind of easy for us to kind of slot in and just know.
But I wanted
what we were
people
gonna
to
do.
do something really personal. And Thomas, I asked to come in and do something you hadn't done for a long time, which was sing.
Which was indeed sing.
Which was fabulous. I mean, you hadn't sung in quite some time.
Since I was a soprano, so that was quite different.
And now no longer.
And now no longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring you now one of our international features from the catwalks of Paris. We bring you fashion.
Oh, these two are just insane. Also, by the way, the song that they are performing to, which we couldn't get the rights to, was Boys Watch the Girls as the Boys and the Girls Go By. Burt Bacharach, I think it is. So if you think about it being performed to that, will it make sense? No. Will it make more sense? I don't know. There's fireworks going off. Of course there is, because it's the middle of the day, and that's why when you let off fireworks. Hurrah! Welcome to London.
The original plan was when we first started Transfabulous, it was right at the cusp of trans people being able to change their birth certificates. So it was right at just as the gender reassignment certificates came in.
Gender Recognition Act.
Gender Recognition Act. So it was just when that came around. What we were thinking is like, well, this is fantastic, this is great, and it's great that people have the option, but it's also then very easy for that kind of the transness to just slip away. You know, people can transition, and then it's like the history can be erased. And we were thinking, well, let's make something so that this history isn't erased and so that stories are still being told. And so we actually have a culture, which is what we wanted, a culture of transness that wouldn't be just kind of lost into a change of birth certificate and, you know, living a different life.
I don't have a typical feminine or body, and I don't have a very masculine body. I have this kind of oddball mix in between, which you don't normally see, and one of the things was to kind of show that sort of body type that you never really see. It's not going to grace any magazines or anything like that, but sort of show that sort of body on stage and just sort of say you can be exactly who you want to be. Just reject all of these constraints and that people put on you saying you should be this or you should be that. Really, it was a chance to get naked. I could get laid from this.
I still don't look up laugh.
I'm here tonight to talk to you about manners and etiquette.
Okay, I'm going to stop and I'll go back and restart this performance. But two things I just want to say. One, I creased myself up with my own laughter, which I think is hilarious. The other thing is I cannot thank Jessica Lauren enough for what she did. So I have a stutter. I have had a stutter the entirety of my life. And what that means is I have a less than fluent way of talking at times. I will have slightly longer pauses between words, especially if there's a hard consonant coming up as I kind of prepare myself and work out how I'm going to get past that stutter, or whether I'm actually going to stutter, what's going on. That this also means, and especially as I've gotten older and postmenopausal, I've gotten a lot more aphasic. So there'll be these moments where I'm standing there like, oh, there is a word, then there will be a word eventually. One of the things Jessica did is she wrote a piece of music based on my speech patterns, which is a wonderful syncopated kind of jazz piece around my speech patterns, which she put in here. Now, what you will also notice is I talk about getting naked on stage. You will never see that in the film, and I will, at the end of this performance, I will explain why and do the other performance. And then at the end of this performance, I will also stop and explain the bits that you don't get to see and why you don't get to see it, or why it was cut, and then you'll get to see some of the other parts of the performance. So that's kind of things. And did I get laid? Yes, of course I did. Come on, look at me.
You can be exactly who you want to be. Just reject all of these constraints and that people put on you saying you should be this or you should be that. Really, it was a chance to get naked. I could get laid from this.
Welcome. I'm here tonight to talk to you about manners and etiquette. Many of you may not have been to a place such as this before, and there are some differences in language that you need to be aware of. For example, when they say pass, they are not talking about an overtaking manoeuvre on the A25. When they say pack, they are not talking about fitting your weekend clothing for Lanzarote into your Ryanair carry-on. When they say sub, they are not talking about a ubiquitous fast food available in a 6 or a 12 inch. When they are talking role play, they are not asking about the adventures of your 50th level wizard, thief, druid, mage, elf. When they are talking water sports, they are not discussing a scuba diving weekend in Goa. While they may have many wooden clothes pegs, their flat does not have a washing line. When you arrive and there are many white candles burning, it is not for the fine romantic ambience. And while they may have many ropes and carabiners, they are not into climbing.
So, what happens from after they are not into climbing? I then hold up the doll, generally facing me, I can't remember which way, and there is a New Zealand advert which used to go, don't shake a baby, never shake a baby. So I do that, don't shake a baby, never shake a baby. I then grab it by the foot and swing it. I then grab by the foot and turn to the audience and say, and never swing its head as hard as I can into the floor, bang its head against the floor, drop the baby and walk away. apparently the first time I did that, several people in the audience were just like, what just happened? Because it's a very, very short piece. And I walk off. The next time I performed it, the people who had seen it were then watching everyone else to see how they reacted to what was going on, because it's a shibboleth performance about shibboleths, about things that people don't understand. Now, part of the reason that it was cut, and I'm kind of pleased that it was, because, hey, it saved me from 17 years of trans TERFs, gender critical peeps, them's people that don't like the transes, finding me and going, you did this on stage, you are an evil person. It's like, it's a metaphorical performance about metaphor and shibboleths and belonging and not knowing the jokes, because I didn't know what all of those words I misunderstood at various points in time, coming from a very different background, and fitting into a group of people who use words in different ways. And I'm actually kind of pleased that it's not there. And the second performance, which I will do at the end, is called Officer Clarence of the Gender Police. And I am going to create that. But what I want to do is watch the rest of the film so you can see, you can kind of understand why they fitted in the performance space, but why these performances may not have fitted in the film. And then understand that my stuff is so extreme that Jet Moon is in the film and I'm not doing these performances.
If that makes sense. One of them actually bursts.
You can only contain that sort of thing so long.
So, I think imagine if Thomas is playing the older gentleman, I'm the younger, quite prim, but still a little had a past that's being concealed
Working your way
very
out,
well.
so to speak. Back to another educational feature. It's a lecture on feminist issues.
Feminist? What on earth is that, Bundy?
Well, I don't rightly know, Ginty, but I wager we'll soon find out.
All right. Wow. The 80s. Was anybody else there? The 80s was a wonderful time for me. When I left home and discovered feminism and lesbians. But oh my God, the clothes. Yeah, as we waved goodbye to the 80s, I felt the pull of sadness in my heart. Oh no. No more lavender dungaree sets. No more women's consciousness raising groups. No more totally respectful, equal partnered, woman identified woman, lesbian, vanilla sex. I went out to the nearest store, bought myself a slutty push-up bra, some sexy underwear, a tub of hair removal cream, and some lady shave razors. I never was a very good earth mother. I gotta tell you, I never did buy that whole line about essentialism. I'm a girl, but there's no way that relates to any true notion of what a woman is. Me? I'm your bastard daughter, white trash whore, sister, bitch, goddess, fuck you in the ass, nightmare kind of a girl. Oh, I'm the kind of girl who loves her switchblade. Ladies? Women? How is that spelt? I have word for you of a new social movement. Actually, we've been around a hell of a long time, but before now we were considered a bit too oppressed to be liberated. And it's taken us this long to kick the fucking door down. This is not the first wave. It's not the second wave. This is not even the backlash. Ladies, I present to you Femme.
the uber femme. Beautiful, immaculately dressed, so perfectly feminine. From her, I learned everything. How to walk, how a real girl talks, and how to behave. To speak softly, to laugh at the right moments. To carefully calculate the effect of my movements on those who watched me. Growing up with my mum was like going to geisha school. We talk about femme, and I try to explain, I know it's a construction. I know I have some pretty heavy conditioning. Getting rid of my femness would be like trying to remove my bones. There's so much internal fakery that makes up the real me. So many heavily fetishized objects to which I attach my identity. My fascination with the external symbols. The clothes, the shoes, the wigs, the makeup. I know that stuff is crappy make-believe. But what I want to explain is that when I put on this drag, this fake, this costume, that's when the outside begins to match the inside. When I dress up, I'm becoming who I really am. I was having a conversation with this young intellectual butch the other day. Actually, she was giving me a bit of a lecture. Talking about butch fame. I think she was educating me, yeah. She said to me, surely you have to realise that butch is the first and foremost weapon in the fight against patriarchy. By rejecting the feminising of women's bodies, we're reclaiming ourselves and showing men that we're not here for their amusement or entertainment. It's amazing though. Being femme does mean that you're endowed with certain magical powers. It's true. For example, the power of invisibility. I'm cruising down the street in a macho femme kind of a way. Feeling hot because I just fucked my girl till she's a messy heap on the floor. Cruising along, cock of the walk, no one better fuck with me. And this guy in the street catches my eye and gives me a wink. Like it's all for him. Jesus, can't he tell I'm a faggot? The other side of passing, I call that knowing the tricks of the trade. If you dress like a girl, you've got to be smart to play the con. On the train, crossing out of Slovenia, I suggest that we fuck. She's out in the hallway smoking a cigarette, and I keep flirting with her, flashing her my underwear, lifting up my skirt. Back in the train compartment, she's shy. Like always, I'm the devil's advocate, talking her into it. Come on, don't be a pussy. She draws the curtains, and she's genuinely scared. Me? I don't get it. What's to worry about? I strap on a dick under my pretty pink skirt and get her down on the carriage floor. I tease her, calling her a sissy boy, my little faggot cocksucker, grabbing her hair and pulling her head back to tease her lips with my cock. And just as she's really getting into giving me a bit of good head, the ticket inspector comes to check our ticket. He flicks aside the curtains, and as soon as he sees her down on the floor, he says, "Excuse me," and he backs out. He is the one who apologises for interrupting our little game. My girl, woo, she's really freaked out. But me, I just rearrange my skirt, smile at him in a sexy, coy kind of a way, holding my bitch close, and he leaves us alone. It's just like I always thought it would be. We've just passed again, riding the wave of heterosexual privilege. In the Cross, the red light district of Sydney, everyone calls me Kitty. My friend, Tammy Jo, sometimes she's still a rent boy, depending on what the client wants. But for a while now, she's been Tammy Jo in real life and for work. Talking about a job she did last night, she says to me, "Girl, guess what? I licked pussy!" And I'm so caught up in her identity and like the idea that she's never had sex with a woman before that I say, "Ooh, really?" I can't get my head around it. I'm genuinely revolted. Now, I just happen to have with me a 1977 copy of Our Bodies, Ourselves. I was looking in the section on lesbian sex. Just, wanted to know if I was doing it right. And here's what it says. Kissing is the first and foremost activity of lesbian sex. Wait. Which may lead to other activities. Now this is an ongoing problem. Everyone always asks, what do lesbians do in bed? And you look in a book written by fucking lesbians and not even they know. So, I'm playing with this young trans boy. I've got him down on his knees on the floor, and I say to him, "Jack off! I want to see you jack off. I'm going to piss in your mouth while I watch you come." And he looks a bit nervous. But what he says is, "I have to go and get my cock." This is one of those pauses that can be a bit of a scene killer. But anyway, he goes and gets his cock. He comes back, and holding his dick between his legs, he jacks off. Just like a real boy would. And I'm fascinated. Because just the night before in my room, I've been trying to figure out how to do exactly the same thing. Me and my mate, she's another femme of the trashy hardcore variety, we have a lot of conversations along those lines. There we are, rifling around in our handbags. And all femme and everything. And we say, wow, it's that conversation, if I had a real cock. This is what it would be like. Except, of course, bigger. Isn't it funny how it all comes back to cock? Sometimes that really worries me. How did I get to be such a dick for brains? Freud would have something to say about that. Phallic symbols. High heels, a stiletto heel, yes. Phallic symbol. And another thing. Knife. Of course, phallic symbol. Strap on. Well, angels, it's not a fucking symbol. And the strangest thing of all, apparently the feminine woman herself, that's right, represents a penis. So, if I'm a chick and I'm standing here and I'm wearing high heels, I've got a knife and a strap on. Basically, that means I'm standing here with 5 fucking dicks. Count it through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Darlings, I got a little something for you.
really was a community learning experience.
Indeed, most indeed.
Next.
This was originally performed to a piece by Fisher Spooner that we could not get the rights to. So the soundtrack is a recreation of the beat, at least.
We actually have a culture. The culture of transfer. We actually have a culture. The culture of transfer. The culture of transfer. The culture of transfer. The culture of transfer.
And so ends our broadcast day. Brought to you this afternoon and this evening with our media partners, the Trans International Recruiting Conspiracy. We thank them, and for telling children since 1972, be a tranny. It's big, it's clever, and it's what all the cool kids are doing.
Okay, and I'm going to pause it there, and I'll shrink this down while it plays through the credits. What I'm going to do, that's what we did. That was 17 years ago. It was brilliant. It was amazing. And the show and Transfabulous and everything was truly life-changing for me at the time. It still is life-changing. It gave me my gender. It gave me a group of people who I met and worked with. I got to meet people like Kate Bornstein, Jack Halberstam, I believe, came and talked at some of them. Got to meet academics. The whole Genderqueer Playhouse is just a representation of one little corner of the whole thing. So the piece that didn't make it in is called Officer, into the film, it was performed, is called Officer Clarence of the Gender Police. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a moderately cold reading, because I'm just reading it off my phone, which is something that I hate, but I don't know it well enough currently, and no, it will never be performed physically. I'm going to find a way of doing this, and there's a number of little interjections and pieces around what is going on stage. So, and after seeing Tom of Tottenham's final, or Ginty's final statement about the trans, be a tranny, it's cool, it's fun, it's what all the cool kids are doing. I know that statement's going to get us a lot of interest. Perhaps that's part of the reason why the Lovers and Fighters hasn't been up anywhere online for a number of years, which is also why I'm putting it up. So anyway, this piece, it's called Officer Clarence of the Gender Police. So Officer Clarence walks on in a semi-funeral march, turns at the mic stand and snaps his left foot with the loudest bang I can get out of steel shod boots into the floor, wearing a military police uniform and a very bad tie. Hello, I'm Officer Clarence of the Gender Police. We police the borders, and I'm here today to talk to you about what we do. Starts to remove jacket. We police the borders between genders. Gender is biology. There are men and there are women. There is nothing in between, no one out of bounds. And then there are those transsexuals that we protect society against. Jacket on the floor. Starts to remove tie. Our supporters, the conservative, Bible-driven Christian right, tell us these trans individuals deny their biology and say their real gender lies in their feelings and their emotions. They defile their bodies with drugs and mutilations. Throws tie on the floor. This denies the body-positive message of the Bible, the supreme example of which is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour, himself becoming flesh. Pulls a small black book from pocket. Small note, I could never actually throw a real Bible. That was way too deep and ingrained from my childhood. I had to fake it. The Bible gives us a body-positive message, but also has teachings aimed directly at these transsexuals. For the Bible says, a man shall not wear women's clothes, nor a woman's men's clothing, for the Lord your God detests this. Throws Bible at the floor, full force. Bible. Puts hands into red braces and starts to pull them off the shoulders. Because we must think of the children. What would the children think if the beloved, removes one boot, Sunday school master, throws boot, should become, reaches down and removes other boot, Sunday school mistress, throws other boot. Officer Clarence then looks perplexed at the microphone, which is now too high, and readjusts it. Starts to unbutton trousers. We must protect children from these transsexual perverts and deviants. How would a child cope with finding a trans woman in the ladies' lavatories? How would they cope with such gender confusion in a place of such vulnerability? Throws trousers on floor. Starts to unbutton shirt. But we must not hate these trans individuals. We must pray to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Saviour, to return these lost individuals to our loving Christian bosoms. Throw shirt on floor. Accepting their God-given genders. Officer Clarence is now standing in white pants with a white vest. Underneath there is a pink dotted dress just showing through. But we at the Gender Police are also supported by the Liberal left. We are a moderate, middle-of-the-road, voice of the majority organisation working to defend our society from this trans perfidy. Removes vest and drops it on the floor. We are also supported by the Liberal feminists such as Sheila Jeffries, and dear God, I need to update that reference. There's bound to be somebody. I'm not going to use J.K. Rowling here, but it does need an update. Running back that line, we are also supported by the Liberal feminists such as Sheila Jeffries, removes Officer Clarence removes pants, now in pink, aqua and lemon spotted dress. Note, these feminists tell us about these male to constructed females who come into the woman with a Y spaces. These MTCFs bring their patriarchal notions and upbringing into the woman with a Y space and pollute the space with their patriarchal energy. We are in the woman with a Y space working to theorise what it is to be a woman in this patriarchally ruled world. Takes off dress and drops it on the floor. I'm now standing in just a bra and pants. These MTCFs are spies for the patriarchy. They infiltrate our women with a Y groups, and by bringing in their patriarchal energy changes the atmosphere. They interfere with our energies and defile the woman with a Y space. They prevent our groups from defining who women with a Y are. They invade our safe havens with patriarchy seeping off them. Removes bra and throws it on ground. Then there are those traitors to the woman with a Y cause who embrace the notions of patriarchy and wish to become like our patriarchal oppressors. These define themselves as part of the patriarchy and come into our woman with a Y space, and all they want to do is penetrate us over and 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 over again. Removes pants. They only want us on our knees, sucking their silicone cocks of patriarchy. Throws pants on floor, generally threw pants at audience. Stamp left foot into the floor and comes to attention as before. I am Officer Clarence of the Gender Police. We police the borders. Thank you. And I turn and walk off the stage to the slow march of before. My feelings on that not being recorded are slightly mixed, in that I would love it to have been recorded. I don't know how I would feel about seeing my body 17 years ago. I don't know how I feel about seeing my body now. I'm very dysphoric about body, not in gender dysphoria, just in dysphoria. This meat sack is a meat sack. All meat sacks are. But it is fascinating to me in rewatching this, and it was a huge realization that my performances are ghosts, that you never see any of my performances. You see more of me talking than you do of me performing. In my performance, you see more of me in the headshot interviews. And my performances are so extreme that Jet Moon's is the least, well, it is an extreme performance. My performances are so much more extreme that they cannot be shown. And that gives me a certain amount of pride, I think, that the funny little queer kid that I am, who's never performed since, there's a whole reason behind that. I'm not going to get into it now. I do talks rather than perform. Did something that was so extreme that it couldn't be shown here. So that's the Lovers and Fighters convention. It's played out. I'm going to zip forward because there's a piece forward. And I'm going to trim out some of this. But there's a piece that you need to see. Oh, also, big ups to Margot, who did my makeup for the first time ever.
You know, the nights we do are very, very simple, you know, really simple. I mean, we've done nights with, you know, just like in a small room with acoustic music and comedy and tea and cake, 'cause, you know.
I would say that this same thing could be done elsewhere. You could do the same thing somewhere else in terms of starting up a Transfabulous festival, a Transfabulous picnic, a Transfabulous spoken word thing. You just start some things up.
And my partner comes up to me and she says, "What's wrong? What happened? What happened with the gym?" And I'm like, "Amanda did a thing." And then a little bit later, I think, I was only blooming cruise, wasn't I? Thank you very much.
And what I will also say is I have so much respect to anyone who does reaction videos as their job, because it's fucking hard to sit still and think of stuff to say and do that. And yeah, really, really hard. But I hope you kind of enjoyed that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this together and put it up. And then I'm also going to do my best to put up the Lovers and Fighters with taking out the names that shouldn't be those names.